2 grand a month on the high end. So conservatively, I'm going to say we've probably spent at least $200,000 on this ad across tons of locations everywhere. And as far as the return, it's our best ad because it works. And my clients that are using this, I mean, honestly, there's been at least 2 clients that this ad alone has been able to just float for a year with like $10 to $12 leads day in, day out, growing their practice, being their main source of new patients. And so typically my clients are seeing at least $1 and $3 out in return. So I would say the 200K is at least produced on the low side, 600 grand for these chiropractors.
You're listening to the Rich Ad Poor Ad podcast, where we break down the financial principles that rich advertisers are deploying today to turn advertising into profit and get tons of traffic to their websites without killing their cash. These advertisers, agencies, affiliates, brands are responsible for managing over $1 billion a year in ad spend. You'll hear about what's working for them today, their rich ads, and we'll roast their epic failures and crappy ads on the internet with poor ads. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of the Rich Ad Poor Ad podcast, where we break down what's working now, what's tanking, and share with you the financial principles and strategies of scaling winning ad campaigns. Today is going to be an epic show. I am so excited. Are you ready to dive into it, Dylan?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting comfortable right now. Let's do it, man.
Well, we're going down memory lane today with a longtime friend, but also an amazing marketer with a well-rounded, diverse, and dynamic experience. But he's now the founder of Patient Autopilot, and he specializes as ad agency with functional medicine doctors and chiropractors, which I'm pretty excited to catch up with him. He's here in Austin, formerly both of us prior Santa Barbara residents, and believe it or not, the very first marketing hire at funneldash.com in the early wee days back in the good old 2016, 2017. So without further ado, I'm so excited to have on the show longtime friend Caleb Hodges. Caleb, how you doing?
What's up, guys? Zach, thanks for the intro. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here with both you and Dylan and talk about some ads.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited to have you on. I think I love what you're doing. I love the niche that you've really specialized in the last few years. Dude, I mean, this is going to sound so naive and so, ignorant, but like, what does cross-functional medicine really, what does that really mean? And like, who are you serving in your ad agency?
Yeah, so a lot of chiropractors, and then functional medicine, I often see it as like an evolution of chiropractors, although so some functional medicine or integrative medicine doctors might be MDs as well, or chiropractors who grew their practice. And basically they're treating things like autoimmune disease, fatigue, diabetes, weight loss, that type of stuff.
Got it. So why did you choose this? Right? Like, because before this, you were like working with some pretty big names, like, myself, I'm just kidding. No, but like you've done some pretty cool things in just the online, marketing world. I think it's super smart what you did, but why did you go down this route?
Yeah, that's such a good question because it was hard for me. I was used to working with people like Dr. Axe and people. I worked for Eben Pagan for a little bit, and I was doing, when I was working with you at Funnel Dash, we had all kinds of really cool clients that I got to work with one-on-one, and so I was managing big campaigns, prominent stuff, things I could brag about. But when I went on my honeymoon after getting married in 2017, I came back from that. I was like, man, this is cool and I can make good money consulting, but I want to do more than just help people make money. I want to also make a difference and build a business. And my wife and I were getting into holistic health. And because of that Dr. Axe client and a few other synchronicities, I ended up having a bunch of chiropractor, like influencer clients. And originally I wanted to stay away from chiropractic because that was the industry that still to this day, so many, how to start your own agency programs say, oh, chiropractic's a great niche. So it's a pretty worked over niche, but I had a lot of credibility already in it and I'd worked with influencers. So I ended up there and it's been great so far anyways.
Yeah. You're like the poster child of like start an agency and pick a niche. It's like, oh, chiropractors. But I think you've done a great job. So tell us a little bit about where the agency's at today. You know, how do you structure it with your clients? And, you know, give everybody a little bit of rundown of what you're up to and how your agency works.
Well, it even was more specific than that. A specific friend and client literally said, "Hey, we started an agency for our chiropractic like consulting group, but we're not running the agency as well as we'd like. Would you like to just take it over and have our clients?" So they also had two like big time brick and mortar chiro influencers. So they just dropped that all into my hands. So that's how I got started off with it. But you know, I've learned a lot. It's been awesome. We've been doing this for 2.5 years now, and I've been able to run things tighter and tighter with more efficiency and more effectiveness. And we've pretty much just grown off of referrals. We've added levels of software to automate things and increase our efficiency. We've learned how to like draw boundaries with clients and set expectations better. And yeah, so it's exciting seeing the whole industry evolve. Now everybody's going to the pay per show model, and it's all about lead nurturing bots and lots of exciting things happening in the lead gen space. That's a win for the clients and a win for the agencies, and definitely the old Zuck as well.
Well, you've got some pretty good stuff, man. I love what you sent over here for our Rich Ad segment. So are you ready to dive into it? Should we dive into the Rich Ad?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it. All right, break it down for us.
Yeah, so this ad I wrote maybe a year and a half ago. You know, we're just always testing new copy and writing new things to try out. And this ad was really fun for a few reasons. First, we start off by addressing the town the chiropractor is in, you know, just a simple call out like you've seen before. "Hey, what's up, Austin?" And then it gets in with the opening line is, let me pull this up here. The opening line is something about reversing lifelong health challenges can take time, but it's so worth having your life and energy back. And I like that line because it's hopeful and relates like to a hardcore specific issue right away. And then the next line is, "For anyone who wants freedom from pain, fatigue, or chronic health challenges, consider this." And then it makes the offer. "Come see us for your initial exam, hypervolt massage, chiropractic adjustment, and report of findings for only $41. Then we do a little bit of objection handling and explaining what we do and why we can help you with these things. And it's literally saying you've got nothing to lose. I promise you're going to find our office to be caring, compassionate, knowledgeable, and helpful with whatever you're going through. This is perfect for anyone desiring to have their best health. Vouchers are limited. Claim by clicking learn more." And in this one in particular, it's the chiropractor is a friend of mine. Awesome guy. It's a picture of him doing like a handstand, and his back is just ripped, and he's got like chiro tape on it. It's just really catches your attention. Is done super well.
Yeah. So like, how did this do? Like, break it down for us. Like, I want to hear about the results.
Yeah. So results wise, it's been awesome. As far as like hard numbers, I'm kind of estimating because this has been our leading ad copy, an angle that we've used across, I don't know, 15 to 20 accounts over the last 2 years. On average, each one, or sorry, year and a half since whenever I wrote it. And each time it'll be spending about $1,000 a month on the low end to $2,000 a month on the high end. So conservatively, I'm going to say we've probably spent at least $200,000 on this ad across tons of locations everywhere. And as far as the return, it's our best ad because it works. And my clients that are using this, I mean, honestly, there's been at least 2 clients that this ad alone has been able to just float for a year with like $10 to $12 leads day in, day out, growing their practice, being their main source of new patients. And so typically my clients are seeing at least $1 and $3 out in return. So I would say the 200K is at least produced on the low side, 600 grand for these chiropractors.
Oh, there you have it. That's what I wanted to hear. That's the breakdown. Caleb
That's
never
the rich
fails.
ad part.
That's Caleb. You never failed to deliver, my friend. I love it. So, what's the funnel look like on the back of this thing? Right, you've done a great job of not only systemizing the copy, the creative on the ad side, but I'm sure you've done your work and systemizing the funnel on the back end of this thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Anybody running an agency or wanting to run an agency needs to understand that the Facebook ads is like one little point in the equation. Um, Obviously, as anyone listening to this probably knows, you got to get them to click the ad. Then they got to like the landing page. It's got to connect and make sense with what they just read. So we just sent them to a 2-step opt-in funnel. And on the landing page, we've got social proof. We've got pictures of their reviews and testimonials from Facebook. We've got their map hyperlinked in there. And ideally, I try to get them to shoot a video that's like further connecting the dots for them. And then once they opt in, we will try to have a scheduler. Like I said, I run this for a bunch of different people. So there's variations all along the way. But really, the real secret sauce is making sure that the chiropractic offices are trained to handle these leads and close them. Because I'll see ranges of anywhere from 10% of leads getting booked to 30% or 40% getting booked. And that's literally like double your return with the same amount of leads.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really important. And what we do with our clients is really like making sure that each part of the funnel is dialed in so that they can really have a rich ad and grow and hit their goals, their ROI targets with their Facebook ad spend.
So do y'all have scripts for the, whoever's kind of dealing with these actual kind of leads here? Do you have scripts for them? Do you have to kind of go in and train them? I'm kind of curious how that kind of works out, because yeah, you're not the one closing the deals. You can.
Right. Yeah, so we've got a magic call script that we use that based off of a bunch of different trainings, and I encourage them to adjust it. But at the end of the day, it's such an easy script. It's basically just, you got to relate to their pain, like dig for the pain first. Why are they interested in this? I found that's the most important theme, is figuring out why people are interested in this, and then just doubling down on emphasizing that over and over and over, and then booking their time and collecting their credit card. That's like the high level flow of it.
Man,
that is amazing. So here's a question I have for you, Caleb. You're a big credit card points guy. Do you bill your clients like up front, and then you put the spend on your own card, or do you like have them pay for their ad spend? Do you own the ad accounts? Like I'm curious how you logistically set these up for your clients.
Yeah, that's a great question. For the longest time, I wanted to take the ad spend, and I had tried that a few times because I want the points. I got to even work with the points guy back in the day a little bit, and that set me on a course. I've done amazing vacations using 1 million+ points and all that good stuff. So I'm a huge fan. But for one reason or another, especially in my earlier days of agency work, I was a little bit too, I would just acquiesce to whatever the client wanted. And then a lot of my docs, we would run workshops or different campaigns for them. They're like one-offs. And so it got weird when I was trying to charge them for that. But the direction that I'm going in now, I am starting to collect their ad spend, and I just set the parameters. I say, hey, we're experts at this. We've been doing this for years. We know what works and doesn't work. So you're going to need to run the offer the way we tell you right now. And you're going to need to spend the ad spend that we say, and you're just going to pay it to us right away. And then that's setting us up to really scale so that we can run tons of ad accounts that we own in one spot, still using their pages, and we get the points.
Talk about some expectations. I'm in love with those.
I love it.
So
I love
important.
it. I'm gonna do a native advertisement right now for ad card because I can, because I'm the host of the show.
Get it.
But like
live and native right here.
Yeah, live and native advertising. So this is one of the things that like this is like one of the use cases we wanted to create with ad card, was so that the ad agency didn't have to go through these hoops to be able to earn that cash back. That cash back, like if you're charging, let's just say 8 to 10% of spend, from a profitability standpoint, I've seen earning this 1 or 2% cash back on cards literally double the profitability of an agency, right? It's like maybe like it's a small like piece, but massively profitable if you can get right. And one like kind of the crappy way of doing this is, or like the old school way, which just like kudos to Caleb for doing it, because like this is the way that you do it. Is like you make your clients pay all that ad spend up front, and then you basically have to go keep track of it relentlessly on the back end, right? It's kind of accounting nightmare, like a little bit.
Yeah.
And what we did with ad card was like, hey, let's put the cash back in the hands of the agency, so the agency can refer into the ad card. The client can put their payment source on file, put the card on file with the ad account, and then the agency can earn the cash back without having to go through all the hoopla of billing them up front, and while also having the client have some level of float, right? So like kind of the downside, and this probably isn't as relevant for your market, like Caleb, because they're spending, maybe $1,000, $5,000 a month on ads. But like for larger accounts, somebody spending 10, 20, 30, 50 grand, like good luck trying to get those guys to pay for their ad bill like up front, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get like negative float.
Yeah, that's so true. You can only do that with the little guys.
Yeah. So anyways, that's my native live advertisement for ad card, this particular use case. And if you can pull it off, I think it has huge implications in the long-term profitability of the agency.
This episode is brought to you by Funnel Dash's ad card, the only charge card exclusively for your digital ad spend. And if you're an ad agency that manages 7 or even 8 figures a year in media and ad spend for your clients, and you're looking to double your profits over the next 6 to 12 months, then check out ad card. See, the typical agency model is this. You charge 10% of your spend, and you make 10 to 20% margin at the end of the day. So that's really 1 to 2% of your client's spend that is profit in your business. The easiest way to double that is to really find a way to earn in that 1 to 2% cash back of the card that is on file of your client's ad account. And before ad card, what you had to do was invoice all your clients for their ad spend up front, which is really difficult on a cash flow basis and very difficult ask. And then you had to put the card on your own Amex or whatever card of choice to get that level of value back into your business. With ad card, it's entirely different and streamlined. You simply get your clients on ad card and make yourself the agency of record, and you'll get the cash back as long as you're managing the ad spend. It's a great way to double your profit without doing any additional work. Check it out at funneldash.com.
But let's dive into the poor ad segment. Let's talk about some shitty ads. Here we go. Let's go, Caleb. What's not working?
So I had a real time trying to come up with the poor ad because there's so many. They're hilarious, and I love just saving bad ads. But this one in particular was really ironic and made me laugh. I've seen it a lot over the last few days, and it's from TikTok for Business. So it's TikTok advertising to me on Facebook, trying to get me to go advertise on TikTok. And for some reason, they're targeting by states, obviously. So the copy says Texas, in like
we're
every
inviting
field,
small businesses in Texas, right? Like
to use our super
for small
intelligent
business in Texas. Yep.
Exactly. Then in the image it says Texas. We're inviting small businesses in bold letters, New York, to scale up sales on TikTok. And it's in the image, like right next to where it says Texas, and then the headline says Texas again. I'm like, man, they just set themselves up, and they haven't fixed it yet. I've been watching it, and there's some hilarious comments on there, like, haven't you learned from the Picante commercials or something? And it's all these advertisers being like, what is going on? And they're talking about how good their platform is. And I don't know, it's just ironic to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in the key aspect here, stop wasting time and money on unrelated audiences. Is like, oh, y'all are the ones who really messed up, man.
Yeah. I'm probably wrong on this because I just heard it from someone else, but they said that like TikTok, you can only geographically advertised by state right now or something, which just makes this whole thing even funnier.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. If you're gonna do geo-targeting, you have to get the geo right in order for it to work. I love it. All right, so Caleb, let's talk about some financial principles. Let's dive into this. I think you've come a long way from, I would say, your days at the points guy, where your level of let's just say financial strategy or sophistication was like, hey, let me just kind of go maximize my points for vacations. But like you've been in business now for yourself, you know what it's like to help your clients manage their cash flow, manage your own cash flow. As an ad agency, you've had ups, you've had downs, you've had winning campaigns, you've had losses. What are some of your more core financial principles when you think about investing into growth, investing into ad campaigns, not investing? How do you
Yeah.
spend? How do you capitalize business? Like all that stuff. Could be anything, but like break it down for us. What advice do you have for the other
Yeah.
agencies and brands listening?
There's a few things that I did really right early, because I'd been in internet marketing for 5 or 6 years already before, or a little more than that, before I started my own agency. So I got to like hear what works and doesn't work and learn about cash flow and all that. And so one of the best things I did is I've always charged my clients up front immediately, no matter what. No work starts until I get paid up front. And then as far as like targeting and getting clients, and I would think this would apply really to any niche, is you have to make sure that the numbers work. So I like chiropractic because oftentimes the practices I'm working with, their lifetime value of a patient is over 2,000. In fact, their patient value is usually around 2,000 on the first sale if they're a cash based practice, which is mostly what I work with. Um, and because that's opposed to a chiropractor that's doing like insurance only, pay per visit, and then they have to bill out to the insurance. The cash flow cycles are backwards. So when you combine that with how I run my business and I want my money up front, I'm saying, all right, you're going to pay me up front, you're going to pay Facebook up front, and then for the first 3 months, you're going to be backwards because you got to catch up on insurance and it's just slow and not good. So for me, velocity of the money is really, really important, and the timing is everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it comes back down to payback period, right? It's particularly for your clients, right? There's two lessons here. Number one, don't take insurance.
Yeah,
but
no, seriously.
But that's that time to break even or time to profitability would be my guess. Is gotta be 3 to 6 months if you're going through insurance like cycles.
Yeah, it's terrible. And my clients that are insurance based in the past, they don't stick around very long because of exactly that. They could have a cool practice, they could be big and maybe even be a 7-figure practice. But if they do that, then they're going to have a hard time hiring a Facebook ad agency efficiently, because exactly, they're not going to get paid back on it 3 to 6 months out. And then they're just going to be confused and feel weird, even though I'm doing everything the same on my end as I would for a cash based practice that's going to be wildly profitable on month one.
Yeah, I mean, like essentially what you're asking for, right? If they're on insurance is, hey, my retainers, let's say $3,500 a month, we need 3,500 in spend, or give or take, like whatever that looks like. And then you got to float that out essentially for 6 months. So you're asking them to write a $42,000 check before they know it works, right? Like they're gonna know it works, like maybe a couple months in, but it's kind of like, yeah, like I know this is working, but I haven't really like seen the payday, right? Like,
yeah,
and they have to have serious faith, right? Like that all this is going to continue to really play out. So I think that the lesson of focusing and understanding your client's cash flow is something that I think agencies that have tried to do what you've done for 10, 15 years still don't think about to this day, which is how do my clients' unit economics, how do my clients' cash flow works? And then there's different pockets within that. And then understanding like which ones have those unit economics and those cash flows yield high value, high LTV retained clients, right? Like, I think like hats off to you. Like I'm clapping.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I mean,
right?
it's the most important thing. And especially as the marketing agency world is getting more and more crowded each day due to internet marketers selling people on the biz ops side of that. It's important that if you're a real OG and you're serious about running an actual business, not just, making $5,000 off of a few clients and you don't even know what you're doing. The difference between that person and like standing out, adding value, keeping clients for 2.5 years, the difference is understanding their business model and communicating with them. And because usually people have like an intuitive sense, whether they're conscious of it or aware of it or not, of
Yeah.
if their client is successful. And most agency owners don't want to have those conversations. I know
Yeah.
I didn't, and I used to avoid them all the time. But now I understand that like confronting that head on and like digging into the numbers and figuring out where things are
Mhm.
going wrong is critical. Like one
Mhm.
time I had a functional medicine doctor and set them up with everything. We were getting them leads at our normal cost of everybody else. The system was running, but their
Mhm.
CA was just totally screwing it up over and over. She wasn't following our scripts, and she was sending texts trying to upsell them on a machine called the HoCat.
Oh,
I have no
jeez.
idea what it was.
What is the HoCat?
They weren't even
This on-
explaining.
we're going to use that for our poor ad segment on the next podcast.
The old HoCat.
Literally, they'd opt in for like their $97 functional medicine consultation and then get a text saying, "Hello, it's me from the place. Would you like to upgrade for $150 for a HoCat session?" That's it. I'm like, no wonder nobody's coming in. What are you even doing? I told them to
so
stop,
funny.
and they didn't stop, and then I lost them, but I tried.
Well,
Probably for the best for me.
I love it, dude. Coming back to some more golden nuggets here is, it's one thing to understand. Okay, I think understanding is this first place of consciousness of knowing that there's a problem here, right? Like agencies prior, I would say, ignored this, and now you're starting to understand it. So the next step of understanding is then, being able to properly diagnose, what's healthy cash flow, what's not healthy cash flow. And this is really where, part of our learnings at Funnel Dash and working with thousands of agencies is where I think this ultimately heads over the next couple years, is then to being able to not just understand or diagnose, but then to be able to solve those problems. And that really means offering clients financial products as a way to solve those problems. Whether that means like, hey, do you need just like a better card? Do you need a loan to fund your ad spend, or do you need like help managing cash flow? And not everybody's going to need those, but I think that the agencies that succeed are going to get there the fastest because they're going to be value add, and then in 5 years time it's going to be the norm, right? You're going to have the ad agency that basically like is, if you look at the ad agency, gosh, 6 years ago, you only had the media buyer, right? Like, and then now you have this full stack marketer like yourself, Caleb, who's doing the funnel and the ads. I think the next wave is somebody that's able to look at the ads, the funnel, and the financial economics behind it, and really solving that problem. I think we're early, but people are starting to understand that it's a conversation that they need to have to ultimately work with clients long term. So I'll get off my soapbox again, but you're just laying them up for me, Caleb. So I can't help myself.
I know. Yeah, well, I totally agree with that, honestly. And when I've rubbed shoulders with like really elite, like huge agencies that are just managing millions a month, what I've learned from them is that they don't view themselves as like a marketing agency. They view themselves as a business consultant. And so they'll get in there and they'll do exactly what you said. They'll get to the bottom of the moat there and see what's under the waters of their finances and hook them up with financial services, whether that's a billing system that's going to save them a couple points on every dollar that comes in, or loans or better cards, because that's who's going to win. The more problems that you can solve, and my friends that have these bigger agencies, it's never just the Facebook ads. It's the software stack, it's the metric stack, and then they just continue to vertically integrate and add value. And I think that's an awesome thing that people can do with the ads cards.
Yeah, and I would say the opposite of that, right? Like, let's just forecast in the future. What does this look like for somebody that doesn't make this shift? That is the frustrated agency owner that talks shit about their clients behind their backs and complains that they churn, right? That they're like, I told them they had a winning campaign, but then they canceled after like 3 months. And this continues to happen. And that's because the agency is only focused on the unit economics, right? Like if I say, hey, I got they're putting $1 and they're getting $3 out, but they never asked when. When is that $3 like coming back out? in their pocket.
When is important. And often agency owners are only focusing on like the ad spend, and they'll talk ROI numbers just on ad spend while not including their own agency costs or the cost of the client's team that's doing all the lead nurturing or the call center that's involved. Because sometimes when I dive in with a client, and I find out, oh my gosh, your business is so inefficient and there's so many other things going on that even though I'm killing it on the ads, you're still not breaking even on this at the right time or at all. And that's when you got to get in there and fix things. And we had that happen with one huge client. They had like three different locations, and we were sending them tons of medical leads. And one of the offices just wasn't getting the sales numbers, and they kept moving the metrics for us. So they'd be like, hit this cost per lead. Then they'd be like, oh, well, now you need to hit the cost per lead and this sales metric. I'm like, okay, I don't have anything to do with that. We kept telling them it's their sales team over and over until finally I lined up another agency to just get rid of this client because it was just not worth it and they weren't listening. And then this other agency comes in with that business consultant mindset and just tells them, hey, you got to go in and audit your sales team at this underperforming location first before we do anything. They go in there and do that, and they fire everybody on the spot and they closed some of the leads that day themselves. And they're like, these leads are fine. What are you talking about? And so we've been taking heat this whole time just because we weren't, acting like a business consultant and diving in all the way and forcing the client to figure out what's going on.
Totally. And Caleb, you set me up again. Okay,
good.
So this is good. I'm just going to send this podcast to everybody because part of giving someone, an agency or a marketing partner visibility into the overall blended cost to acquire a customer, right? It's agency fees or software fees. There's like more than just the media spend. And so part of how we design ad card is with the idea that you spin up a virtual card for each line item that goes into your customer acquisition costs, right? So like you would have a card across all these expenses. No, your agency or your partner is not going to have access to your like P&L and your financial reports, right? But like to be able to put all of those customer acquisition related metrics onto their own dedicated cards so that you could see the full picture at the financial level, not at like the pixel level of like what it could be or like, and have it be like 20-30% off, but really take that into consideration. So, sponsored to you today by AdCard, but I digress. So this has been an amazing episode. I know we're running short on time. Caleb, tell us what you're up to next. What are you excited about, and how can people get in touch?
Yeah, awesome. Well, you can hit me up on Facebook. Just look up Caleb Hodges and Patient Autopilot. My website's patientautopilot.com, and I am about to scale with the pay-per-show model and just leveraging the amazing marketing technologies and softwares that we have today to really sell a machine and grow people's businesses and do some of the things that we were talking about, like being more of a business consultant and solving problems at a deeper level. So happy to connect with anybody and answer any questions that you have.
That's awesome. Caleb, it's always a pleasure. It's great to catch up. Thanks for all the layups today.
Absolutely.
You've been an amazing guest. We'll have you back soon. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Dylan. Catch you guys later.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode of the Rich Ad Poor Ad podcast. If you're like me and listen to podcasts on the go ahead and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and richadpooradcom/podcast. And if you absolutely love the show, go ahead and leave a review and a comment, share with a friend. If you do, take a copy, screenshot of it, email me, Zach@funneldash.com, show me you left a review, and I'll give you a free copy of the Rich Ad Poor Ad book. To learn more about the book, go to richadpoorad.com. To leave a review, go to richadpoorad.com/review. Thanks again.